Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Job chapter 19, verses 23 through 25. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and laid in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, I know my Redeemer lives.
Where to stand in the morning. The oracles of the UCI, 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in this body of Yahshua. If you guys haven't heard over the night, there was a so-called preemptive strike against Iran. And if we are not paying attention, we can clearly see that the nations are moving ahead with their plan, full steam. At 1 minute, it was supposed to be that something was so-called happened, and they had to go and demolish all of these people with no real weapons and no real army. Now there's an attack on a whole nother country. But if we think back and we look at what is the prophesied land of Israel, it encompasses several countries. And we are watching all of this play out right before our eyes, which should also let us know that our redemption is getting closer and closer, while we are kind of going just business as usual. The nations are getting prepared. They are preparing to fight Yahshua, is what they are doing. They are getting everything in place for them to do that. Now, understanding that, then that means that the children of Israel are going to be regathered. But the problem is we're going to be regathered with all the paganism that we have scattered with. So we're going to pick up the things in whatever land that we were in. And when we get ready to gather together, I don't think we're considering the enormous amount of paganism that is going to be in one place. Because you're not just dealing with the paganism that we had dealing in our own land. So we had that problem. But then we have the problem of us being scattered and us picking up everything. And now we can be around the world in seconds. We pick up things not knowing that those are the worship practices of other gods, the very things that got us evicted out of the land. So then we'll be gathering together with other of our people. And we know the paganism that we have been exposed to. We're going to have to get ready to get exposed to some paganism that we have never heard of. So then we're going to have to start paying attention. Now, we openly reject the gods of paganism when they connect to Gentile Babylonian system of worship. On the other hand, we have some sort of fantasized romantic connection to the gods of the African continent. These gods were against Yahweh then, and they are against Yahweh now. Let's begin today's sermon in 2 Timothy chapter 2. And the title of today's sermon is The Goddess of the Groves. The Goddess of the Groves. 2 Timothy chapter 2. And we're going to read verses 1 through 26.
You therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in the Mashiach Yahshua, and the things that you have heard of me among many witnesses. The same commit you to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. You therefore endure hardness, as a good soldier of Yahshua HaMashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who has chosen him to be a soldier.
So at some point we have to ask ourselves, who are you trying to please? Who's number one on your pleasure chart? Go ahead.
And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. The husbandman that labors must be first partaker of the fruits. Consider what I say, and the Adonai give you understanding in all things. Remember that Yahshua HaMashiach of the seed of David was raised from the dead according to my gospel, wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds. But the word of Elohim is not bound. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in the Mashiach Yahshua with eternal glory. This is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he will also deny us.
Now, we want to reign with him, but we don't want to suffer with him. We okay when it's winning going on. But when it's time to work, when it's time to sweat, when it's time to get dirty, we don't want any parts of that. But we all want to be a part of the parade. Everybody like the parade. Go ahead.
If we believe not, yet he abides faithful. He cannot deny himself. Of these things, put them in remembrance, charging them before the Adonai that they strive not about words to no profit, but to the subverting of the hearers.
It says, if we believe not, yet he abide faithful, he cannot deny himself. If we do the right things to be a part of him, he can't deny himself. So it might be a part, he's like, you know what, I don't even like that knuckle right now, but I tell you what, he a part of me. Hey, look, don't nobody like every part of their body. We find out when it's foot washing that some of us got some crusty claws. But guess what? It's part of the body. Come on, old crusty foot. Come on. See, you ain't gonna be perfect in Yahshua, but if he said, you know what? You ain't perfect, but you are part of me. Come on, little crusty foot. Let's go. We got somewhere to be. I'll take it. Go ahead.
Study to show yourselves approved unto Elohim, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. And their word will eat as does a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some.
So some people's faith was overthrown just by the hearing of this erroneous teaching. This is why we have to be careful what we allow to penetrate our ears, what we allow to penetrate our eyes. Because you may not know that it is affecting your spirit. You may not know right away that it is affecting your faith. But then you find a week or two down the road, you're operating in a certain way. We don't think far enough back to say, this affected my spirit the day I saw it. We don't think like that. We don't think like my spirit changed the day this person came into my life. We don't think like that. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, the foundation of Elohim stands sure, having this seal. The Adonai knows them that are his, and let everyone that names the name of the Mashiach depart from lawlessness.
Mm-hmm.
But in a great house, there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some to honor and some to dishonor.
Mm-hmm.
If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work.
If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, not a man who never had these. A man who purges himself from these then will be meet or fit for the master's use. Now the master say, you know what, I can use you now. Not that you never had an issue, but you purge yourself from these, so I'm going to use those very issues that you used to be overcome with, and I'm going to use that to do something else with it. Go ahead.
Flee also youthful lusts, but follow righteousness, faith, love, peace, with them that call on the Adonai out of a pure heart. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strifes. And the servant of the Adonai must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if Elohim peradventure would give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
Do we operate like that? Do we have the patience when it's time to deal with Yahweh's people? If we don't, he'll remind you. You're not going to like how he remind you, though. Go ahead.
And that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will.
All right, let's go to Titus chapter 1. And let's read verses 11 through 14.
Verse 1.
No,
verse 11, pardon me. Whose mouth must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake.
Mm-hmm.
One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies.
Teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. If we just go back to the way the black church was one generation ago, we're going to find a totally different style of teaching than what we turn on the TV and hear today. They weren't worried about getting rich then. That was not their focus. Prosperity was not the doctrine of the day. They didn't even look at Bentleys. They never thought they would get one anyway. That's a totally different thought process. Go ahead.
This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith, not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men that turn from the truth.
And this is what we have fallen to, Jewish fables. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 2. Now, our problem is we think that these are authentic ways that we're supposed to operate in, but they're Jewish fables. And how you know something is a Jewish fable, when they start talking to you and they have pinpoint accuracy about what you're supposed to do. Hold the cup in your left hand, put your right foot up, and you shake it all about. And you put one morsel of meat in your mouth, put it down. You chant something. You do all of these things. I mean, they can tell you verbatim what to do. And you say, wow, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. Show me where you got it from. But can't nobody show you where it come from. You operating in Jewish fables. If they can't show you out of that, when you ask, that sounds interesting. Show me where you got it. When they do this, you know you're off into paganism. Wait, it's a book in front of you. You got to turn and get another book. So you got to get another book to tell me what that is you're doing. Oh, you off into Jewish fables. Now I need you to tell me from right here. Show me what that is you're doing. That little dance and all that stuff you're doing, show it to me. Because it sure look like all y'all practice it. The same way, when we went to every church on New Year's, they all had watch night service the exact same way. They all did the same ritual. We got to ask them the same question. Show me where you got it from. How every last one of the preachers had the same ritual, but we can't find it nowhere in here. Now the difference is, they can't tell us where they got it from at all. They can't show us the book. Because that's probably the book of the dead. They're not going to show us where they got that from. But how every last one of them do it the same way though. How you go from one church and you say, you know what? I'm not going to keep New Year's at this church. I'm going to go to this one. How is it the same? How is it the same? They don't know each other. How is their ritual the same? They got that ritual from somewhere. Where did it come from? See, we've been moving around in paganism the whole time. People just been smiling at us while they've been teaching it to us. 2 Peter chapter 2, let's start with verses 1 through 3.
But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying Yahshua that bought them.
Right, them the ones who we pay the most money. Because see, they don't request that we make any change in our life. They just request that we put a nice, handsome offering in the bucket. See, they got a sin buyback program. See, depending on how much sin you've done, let thy payment be like as such. Then you can walk out happy. Yahshua has no such program. Go ahead.
And bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
They say, y'all dealing with that bondage. See, the way of truth is evil spoken of when you follow order. The way y'all do things is bondage. All right, y'all got those rules. There's no rules in redemption. Them lies and propaganda. Why he go through the temple and start turning over tables if it wasn't no rules? Why he make a cord and start swinging it and running people out of it and said, do not make my father's house a house of merchandise? Why did he turn over tables that had money on it? Who told you redemption didn't have rules? They lied to you. Go ahead.
And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbers not.
Right, they made merchandise of you. They gave you 3 scriptures in 2 hours, and you need to pay $59.99 to get the DVD to get the rest of the message. And we didn't complain at all. Then we come out of the lie, come into the truth, and we question everything. You didn't question that pulpit pimp that was running you around, had you selling everything, had you dropping it like it's hot, had you twerking for Jesus. You didn't ask them nothing. Right. Jump to verse 12, bro.
But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to ride in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you. Having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls, and heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children.
Because what we want is all the pleasures of married life without being married. That's what we want. We want all the pleasures of it. But see, anybody who's married knows it's pleasures in it, and there's also some problems. It's bills associated with those things. If people want all the fun with no bills associated. Go ahead.
Which have forsaken the right way, and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Besor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked for his lawlessness. The dumb ass speaking with man's voice forbade the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness, those that were clean escape from them who live in error. While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Adonai and Savior Yahshua HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein, and overcome, the latter end is worse with them than with the beginning. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than, after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. But it has happened unto them, according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire.
But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb. The dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the pig that was washed went right back to wallowing in the mire. There's a difference between falling and wallowing in the mire. Now, more and more, we are seeing an increase in this doctrine of a city called Tel Arad, that it is the true city of Jerusalem. They look at the similarities and conclude that it must be the original city of Jerusalem. This thought process is neither here nor there in the grand scheme of things. Where it gets interesting is where it is believed that the true children of Israel will go to this place first, as in now, then go into the wilderness. The scripture has a different take on this process. This is where we have to start being careful. We're watching wars. We're watching a lot of changes. We're watching finance change. And we have to make sure that we don't panic and get to the point where now we grab hold of any doctrine that looks like it has over 10,000 views on YouTube. I'm going to tell y'all a little secret. For a certain amount of money, you can buy any amount of views you want. So please stop being fooled by something that said it had 1 million views. 3 people watched it. The knuckle who put it out, his mama, and his best friend. But it's got 1 million views. But what we do is we get tricked. Man, if 1 million people watched it, this must be what we supposed to do. Adversary got you. Several times people have offered us, man, I can boost your count. I'm fine with my count. What do you think they were doing? What do you think they went off into? Why do you think those people have so many views? What do you think they're doing? See, this is a game to some. And they use that to sell merchandise, to sell other things. Ain't none of that going to help you when judgment comes. Your t-shirt ain't going to mean jack to Yahshua. When you get ready to get thrown in that lake of fire, you can't tell him, well, do you want one of my hats? It ain't going to help. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, says the Adonai Elohim, I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them, son of man? Will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers, and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Elohim, In the day when I chose Israel, I lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt. When I lifted up mine hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim. In the day that I lifted up mine hand unto them, to bring them forth out of the land of Egypt into a land that I had expied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands.
Now, we would already have a problem right here, because as soon as we get into something, our first thing is, why you keep bringing up the stuff of the past? Yahweh said, cause them to know the abomination of their fathers. Wait a minute, we've been talking about my daddy now? I mean, come on now. I thought it was me and you talking. First thing we say is, I can't believe you bringing up the past. Tell Yahweh. Tell him. Make sure you tell him. Tell him how you feel. Tell him that you just don't appreciate him bringing up that past. Tell him. Go ahead.
Then said I unto them, Cast you away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourself with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I'll pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt.
Understand something. Some of the protection that we have ain't because you actually did right. It's because Yahweh wanted to preserve his name. That's the only reason you made it through. Here it is, we beating on our chest, thinking that we done something. I narrowly escaped that. The only reason he let you escape, because they going to say, hey, ain't that one of his folk right now? Go ahead.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
So then, Yahweh didn't just bring the children of Israel out of Egypt and run them right into Israel. There was a stopping point where he needs to plead with his people. Go ahead.
Moreover also I gave them my Shabbats, to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh, that sanctified them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Shabbats they greatly polluted. Then I said, I'd pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness, to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out.
Once again, I wrought for my name's sake. So it matters what name you call by. He said, I'm preserving my name because my name is on them. It wasn't that we didn't do the things that deserved a high level of punishment. He just didn't want to pollute his name. Jump to verse 33.
As I live, says the Adonai Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I'll bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
All right, so I'll bring you out from the people. I will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered. Go ahead.
And I'll bring you into the wilderness of the people.
So then he's going to the next step. I'm going to bring you out into the wilderness of the people. Go ahead.
And there will I plead with you face to face.
There will I plead with you. Same thing he did before. Go ahead.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, says the Adonai Elohim.
All right. So if the people in the land are the children of Israel, where was their wilderness? Where was that stop? The stop where he pleads with them and gets them to understand his laws, statutes, and judgment before he allowed them to enter into the land. What place was that? Go ahead.
And I'll cause you to pass under the rod, and I'll bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I'll purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgressed against me. I'll bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and you shall know that I am Yahweh.
Yahweh goes over this step by step. I'm going to bring them out, and then I'm going to purge out the rebels. Those who will not follow will not go in. So while we're listening to all of these new teachings, and some of these teachings have been around for a decade, because some of them I've heard, back when we first got into the old place, that folks came talking about, let's go to Israel and we want to do this. They would have gotten trampled. You're lucky to be alive if you're in Israel right now and you don't look like the powers that be. Go ahead.
As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Adonai Elohim, go you, serve you everyone his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, says the Adonai Elohim, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the firstfruits of your oblations with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered, and I will be sanctified in you before the heathen.
I will be sanctified in you. That's what that period is for, sanctification. You don't just bring something wild and then bring it right into the house with your kids. That just don't make good sense. Go ahead.
And you shall know that I am Yahweh, when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for which I lifted up my hand to give it to your fathers. And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings, where you have been defiled. And you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed.
So then he's bringing up that past for a reason, so that you will understand, because we romanticize the past, especially when it's our wrongdoing. We don't remember all of the details. Now, we remember all the details of what happened to us. We don't remember all the details about what we did. We real sketchy on that history. It's sketchy. It's in 4K HD when it's something done to us. But that picture turned black and white. when it's something we did. I don't remember that. You don't remember? You had the knife and you were pushing it in my back. You don't remember? I don't know. It's black and white. I can't tell if that's a knife or a pencil. Nah, I'm pretty sure it was a knife. Now, we are absolutely fascinated when Gentiles produce archaeological evidence of historical sites and proclaim certain sites as biblical and historic. Some often use this so-called unearthed info as a precursor to establishing their own movement that we should follow. I have often found that the individuals who participated in the destruction always have more info than the ones who were actually destroyed. Take the slave voyages. The reason we know how the slaves were packed onto the ships as cargo is because of the Gentile shipping manifests that contain actual description and conditions of the human cargo it transported. We know that when the ships were too heavy, they offloaded cargo, i.e., threw people off the ship into the sea. We don't know this from our own research, although we had to research to find where they hid the manifest. But we know this because of the information collected by the actual perpetrators. When we watch crime shows, we find that there are copycat persons who mimic previous crimes and others that claim to have been the actual perpetrator of an event. When the police examine their claim, they base it off of information collected at the scene. When the individual can give accurate, unreleased info about the scene, they conclude that they must have been the actual perpetrators. We have the unfortunate misfortune of gravitating to the perpetrators just because they offered us some information that we didn't previously have. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 12. All of a sudden, the church is using the name of Yahweh like they just found it out. And I'm here to tell you that every individual who went to seminary school knew the name of Yahweh. They've been knowing the name of Yahweh for over 100 years in church, at least, and refused to say it. It was what was said in the dark circles when everybody else was gone. Why were they hiding it? Why would the person who had the biggest church in America say, I've been following the dietary laws for 5 years, according to Deuteronomy, but not tell his congregation for 5 years he watching them eat pork while he know that's a filthy beast? Now the question is, did he have pork in the same place? What was it in the cafeteria after service? While he himself is following the dietary law. 1 Kings chapter 12, and I want you to start at verse 16.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in Dawid? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your own tents, O Israel. Now see you to your own house, Dawid. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Yehuda, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of Dawid unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of Dawid, but the tribe of Yehuda only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehuda, with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Shlomo. But the word of Elohim came unto Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Shlomo, king of Yehuda, and unto all the house of Yehuda and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me.
This thing is from me. Go, don't mount up. This is from me. I did this. Go ahead.
They hearkened therefore to the word of Yahweh, and returned to depart according to the word of Yah. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their master, even unto Rehoboam king of Yehuda, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Yehuda.
So now he's worried, all right? He's worried that the way that the worship system is set up, they are going to return if they have to go back and keep any of those holy days or anything like that. So now he's about to devise a plan. Now the issue is, our people then go back and they said, look, we have found this place in Israel, and it mimics the whole temple, and this is the place where we ought to go. All right, keep reading.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
So then now a whole nother worship system is set up, because he's afraid that they're going to go back to the house of David. So then when we stumble across something, we get some archaeological evidence, and they say, oh, this is something we need to deal with. Which one of these houses are we talking about? Because they start setting up stuff all over the place. Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month.
All right, what feast that is? What feast that is right now? So when you start getting these things, you have to ask yourself, what kind of Jewish fable you in? Because when I go through the feast, I don't find no feast in no 8th month. What feast we talking about? Go ahead.
Like unto the feast that is in Yehuda.
Oh, like the one. Oh, so it's like-ish. It's feastish. It's Jewish. What? Is it like the feast that is in Judah? So it's July. Oh, okay. I get where this is going. Go ahead.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves.
That's funny, because there's a whole lot of places named Bethel among Jew-like gatherings. That's rather interesting. Go ahead.
Sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made.
So he's got his own priesthood. He got his own setup, because he don't want them to go back. So he made something that's Jew-like. That's interesting. Because Yeshua said, you know not what you worship. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. So there's something then that is worship, but it's Jew-like. That's interesting. Go ahead.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month.
But you see how the lie still is a vision of the truth? Like why not just lie all the way out? No, we're still going to do the 15th day, but we're going to do it on a different month. You ever notice that people who mimicking you have to do what you do, but make it different so it's not you? So they want to mimic you, but they got to stand out from you. This is why they'll be up under you And then when it comes time for them to do their own thing, they got to change something. Right. What?
Even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
He offered upon the altar and burned incense. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 12. That's interesting that there's a whole worship process that's out there that's Jew-like. Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 1 through 14. Now, the interesting thing is, because this new worship practice is Jew-like, you know, you can't find any of the things that he ordained in the law of Moshe. Just so we understand. Because it's something that he devised of his own heart. So if we want to know if something is Jew-like or a Jewish fable, then we need to base it off. Let's go into the foundation and let's see if we can find those practices. Go ahead.
These are the statutes and judgments which you shall observe to do in the land, which Yahweh Elohim of your fathers give you to possess it, all the days that you live upon the earth. You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains and upon the hills and on every green tree. And you shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire. And you shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them out of that place. You shall not do so unto Yahweh your Elohim, but unto the place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall you seek, and thither shall you come. And thither you shall bring your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, and your tithes and heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your freewill offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there you shall eat before Yahweh your Elohim, and you shall rejoice in all that you put your hand unto, you and your households, wherein Yahweh your Elohim has blessed you. You shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For you are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which Yahweh your Elohim gives you. But when you go over Jordan and dwell in the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all your enemies round about, so that you dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which Yahweh your Elohim shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes, and the heave offerings of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto Yah.
But a carefully crafted substitute was created so that they would not do this, because they were worried. Go ahead.
Was it verse 14?
Yeah, where you in it? You was at 12.
Okay. Take heed to yourselves that you offer not your burnt offerings in every place that you seeth, but in the place which Yahweh shall choose in one of your tribes, there you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command you.
All right. Now, there are a couple of interesting aspects concerning the temple that is still standing in Tel Arad. One of his altars of incense placed on either side of the entrance says that is the two standing stones. The stones supposedly represent Yahweh and his Asherah or wife. Now this brother, can you read what it says there for the next graphic?
In the Bible, Asherah refers to both a Canaanite fertility goddess and the wooden pole-like cult objects. Asherah poles, or Asherim, used to worship her. Considered the consort of El or Baal, her worship was a persistent rival to Yahweh in Israel, often involving sacred trees, groves, or wooden images placed near altars.
Now, so when Yahweh keep having this issue with these groves, there's a little bit more going on than just the groves. They were carving things into the trees, and this was supposed to be his wife. Now they playing a whole nother game. Keep going.
Key aspects of Asherah in the Bible. The goddess. Asherah was a major Canaanite mother goddess associated with love, fertility, and sometimes war.
I'm sorry, where have we heard that before? Understand that this is still an African goddess who we dealing with. Understand who Canaan is. Okay? Go ahead.
And when you listen, they sound kind of similar. Shun and Asherah.
It's quite interesting. Keep reading.
Often portrayed as the consort to the supreme male deity.
Here we go again. Wait a minute. We got all the same attributes here. Go ahead.
The pole object. Most biblical references, approximately 33 out of 40, refer to sacred poles, wooden images, or stylized trees representing her, which the Israelites were commanded to destroy. Biblical condemnation. Despite her popularity, Scripture strongly condemns her worship as idolatry, with kings and prophets frequently destroying her altars and poles. Cultic presence. Her cult was pervasive. Her cult was so pervasive that Asherah poles were sometimes erected even in the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem.
Sometimes in the temple, they still have this worship, so they're pushing this. So we start to see why Yahweh said, do not put any of those groves anywhere near my altar. But there's still more going on there. Go ahead.
That was 2 Kings 23 and 6. Groves. In the King James Version, the Hebrew word Asherah is often mistranslated as grove or groves.
Now, understand something. If all of these places where we see the word grove, when you look in some of the definition, you're going to find that it changes. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11. So when people are telling us we need to run up and we go do something because the archaeologists have found such and such, are you going to be ready for what you're about to run into? First Kings chapter 11, let's read verses 1 through 8.
But King Shlomo loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Shlomo clave unto these in love. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Shlomo was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as was the heart of David his father.
So he didn't fall right away. When he was old, his wives turned away his heart. We always look at something when we're in the strength of our power, when we're in the height of it. Yeah, I can handle it. But as it starts weighing on you day by day, then things change. Go ahead.
For Shlomo went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Shlomo did evil in the sight of Yah, and went not fully after Yahweh, as David his father. Then did Shlomo build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. And Yahweh was angry with Shlomo, because his heart was turned from Yahweh Elohim of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which Yahweh commanded.
All right. Now, read the definition for Ashtoreth for me. It says, Shlomo went after Ashtoreth, this goddess here. All right, so let's read about that goddess. He went out.
Ashtaroth from H6253. Ashtaroth equals star. The principal female deity of the Phoenicians, worshipped in war and fertility.
That sounds interesting. Go ahead.
Also Ishtar of Assyria and Astarte by the Greeks and Romans, probably for H6251. Ashtoreth, the Phoenician goddess of love and increase. Ashtoreth.
So, Ashtoreth is also Ashura, the goddess of love, war, and fertility. Same thing we had with Oshun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. Now, this is where people have to kind of pay attention to what they deal with names. Now, so Shlomo fell to Ashtaroth, who is Ashur. You remember we used to go to church with somebody named Ashur, and she was married to somebody, and they named, it wasn't Shlomo, but it was what Shlomo's real name was. That marriage didn't work out. Deuteronomy chapter 16. I tell people, you better do some reading. Her name was Ashur, and his name was what Shlomo's real name is. Find out where it is. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 16. And what's crazy is my elder sat right there with a straight face and didn't say nothing. He knew it the whole time and didn't say nothing to nobody. That old man would just sit there and wait for you to figure out something, and then you come see him, and then he'll have a whole conversation with you. So you been knowing this for 5 years? You ain't gonna say nothing to nobody? They won't spoil it for you, son. Spoil it for me. You got me walking around there? Deuteronomy chapter 16, and let's read verses 18 through 22.
Judges and officers shall you make you in all your gates, which Yahweh Elohim gives you, throughout your tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. You shall not wrest judgment, you shall not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift does blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shall you follow, that you may live, and inherit the land which Yahweh Elohim gives you. You shall not plant you a grove of any trees near unto the altar of Yahweh Elohim, which you shall make you. Neither shall you set you up any image which Yahweh Elohim hates.
Now, this is a pretty big thing with Yahweh. He really has an issue here. Let's go to Genesis chapter 21 so we can understand just how long this has been a problem. Genesis chapter 21, and let's start at verse 27.
And Abraham took sheep and oxen, and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, For these 7 ewe lambs shall you take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called there on the name of Yah, the everlasting hill. Planted a grove, and called on the name of Yah.
Yahweh said, I've been having this problem for a while now. Here it is. He's trying to begin his righteous and holy way. What does he do right off the rip? Right off the rip. But see, this is where we do things and not understanding that we're angering our Elohim. Go ahead.
And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days.
All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 13. And I want you to read verses 1 through 6.
In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Azahiah, king of Yehudah, Jehoaz, the son of Jehu, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 17 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and followed the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin. He departed not therefrom. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael, king of Syria, and into the hand of Benhadad, the son of Hazael, all their days. And Jehoaz besought Yah, and Yah hearkened unto him, for he saw the oppression of Israel, because the king of Syria, oppressed them. And Yahweh gave Israel a savior, so that they went out from under the hand of the Syrians, and the children of Israel dwelt in their tents as before time. Nevertheless, they departed not from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, who made Israel sin, but walked therein, and there remained in the grove also in Samaria.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I want you to do, and there remained the grove also in Samaria. Now, the grove right there is H842. I want you to look at that very one and read the definition for that word grove there.
From BDB definition, Asherah.
Wait a minute, wait. So grove right there is Asherah.
Mm-hmm.
So there remained amongst Samaria Asherah. Okay, keep going.
Asherah equals groves for idol worship.
Uh-huh.
A Babylonian Astarte.
Wait a minute, Astarte, that's Ashtaroth.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashtaroth is Asherah. So all the time we've been reading groves. When you don't look up that word, you don't see that they're dealing with Asherah. They're dealing with Ashtaroth, the same one that Shlomo fell with. Go ahead.
Canaanite goddess of fortune and happiness, the supposed consort of Baal, her images, the goddess, her images, sacred trees or poles set up near an altar.
Now, just like any twisted thing, in one thing they say she is the mother of Baal, another one they claim she married Baal. But it's going to get a little bit more interesting. Now let's go to 2 Kings chapter 17. So Yahweh got a real thing going on. They really trying to say that Asherah is his wife. Yahweh said, I ain't never had no relation with that woman. I do not know this woman. Yahweh had the same problem we have. Yahweh, I swear, I don't know her. I did not have a relation with that woman.
Keep trying to get out of his house.
Yeah, hey. I told you, set it on fire. Don't bring her nowhere near. 2 Kings chapter 17.
For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against Yahweh their Elohim, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel, which they had made. And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against Yahweh their Elohim, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree.
Yahweh keep trying to get away from this fake connection that they trying to make with him, and they keep doing it. Now imagine if you don't know nobody, you just say, look, man, we don't want these trees. But Yahweh said, no, they trying to put me together with something else. Go ahead.
And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom Yahweh carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yahweh to anger. For they served idols, whereof Yahweh had said unto them, You shall not do this thing. Yet Yahweh testified against Israel and against Yehudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn you from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yahweh their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahweh had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahweh, to provoke him to anger. Therefore Yahweh was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only. Also Yehudah kept not the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And Yahweh rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following Yahweh, and made them sin a great sin.
That's who we read about earlier, who said, look, don't, it's too much for them to go down and worship in Jerusalem. Let me set them up something. All right? That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
You know, Elder, the irony is Yahweh kept saying, remove these things from my house. Okay, you want to remove them, then I'll remove you from the house.
Exactly. And then he still let the thing stay in there with the heathen. He's all right, you hell-bent on letting this false worship stay in here? All right, I'm going to let it stay in here, but you going to go. One of y'all going to leave. Go ahead.
For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did. They departed not from them, until Yahweh removed all Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria, instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof.
Right. So whenever somebody starts telling me about they found the Ethiopian Bible, or they got the Samaritan copy, oh, that's the last thing I want to see. Ain't no telling what's in there. Now, according to ancient mythology, Asherah, or Ashtaroth, was the wife of El, who mothered 70 gods, including Baal, the most famous. Baal, the chief of the Canaanite pantheon, was the god of storm and the bringer of rain. He was recognized as the sustainer of the fertility of crops, animals, and people. So, let's consider if Ashtaroth or Asherah is the wife of El, and her son is Baal. Who is Baal then? If Baal is the son of El and the mother goddess, then Baal is supposed to represent Christ. So let's define the word Baal. Read the definition for Baal, please.
H1168 from Brown Driver's Brakes. Baal equals Lord.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Baal equals Lord.
So then the setup then, if Asherah is the wife, Yahweh is the father, then the son is Lord, then that's the role that Christ is supposed to be. So now we understand why they cry Lord all the time. They've been worshiping Baal right in front of our face. Go ahead, brother.
Supreme male divinity of the Phoenicians or Canaanites. Noun, proper, masculine.
All right, let's go to Judges chapter 6.
And we've got a Strong's Baal, the same as in H1167, Baal, a Phoenician deity, Baal, plural, Baalim.
Thank you for that. Judges chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 11. So it's been something else going on the whole time. See, we wondered why they love that word, Lord. They say Lord and just hit the floor. I said, Lord! Wait a minute. Do you like that? Oh, yeah, it's been something else going on. And the people who were teaching knew what they were teaching. They also knew what they were not saying. Judges chapter 6, and let's start at verse 11.
And there came an angel of Yahweh, and sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress, to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him, and said unto him, Yahweh is with you, you mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Adonai, if Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us?
Ain't this our question? Every time. We always want to tell the angel what we ain't got. Yahweh is with you, my son. If Yahweh with me, why this Corolla don't work? You know how many times I don't tune this thing up? I don't change the spark plug, the alternator, the voltage regulator. If Yahweh with me, why keep stopping? Right. Go ahead.
And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us?
Where the miracles at? Make that alternator turn and that starter turn over. Then I believe then. Go ahead.
Saying, did not Yahweh bring us up from Egypt? But now Yahweh has forsaken us, and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. And Yahweh looked upon him, and said, Go in this your might, and you shall save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have not I sent you? And he said unto him, O my Adonai, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And Yahweh said unto him, Surely I'll be with you, and you shall smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, If now I have found grace in your sight, then show me a sign that you talketh with me. Depart not hence, I pray you, until I come unto you, and bring forth my present, and set it before you. And he said, I'll tarry until you come again. And Gideon went in, and made ready a kid, and unleavened cakes of an ephah of flour. The flesh he put in a basket, and he put the broth in a pot, and brought it out unto him under the oak, and presented it. And the angel of Elohim said unto him, Take the flesh and the unleavened cakes, and lay them upon this rock, and pour out the broth. And he did so. Then the angel of Yahweh put forth the end of the staff that was in his hand, and touched the flesh and the unleavened cakes. And there rose a fire out of the rock, and consumed the flesh and the unleavened cakes. Then the angel of Yahweh departed out of his sight. And when Gideon perceived that he was an angel of Yah, Gideon said, Alas, O Adonai Yah, for because I have seen an angel of Yahweh face to face.
Now, problem. He don't know it's an angel until he gets to a certain point. What if we already did something stupid? The angel of Yahweh is not going to come up and announce itself, Hello, O dumb one. I am an angel of Yahweh. No, he's going to sit there. Now, what kind of dumb stuff going to come out your mouth before you find out, hey, why you looking at me like that, Slick Panther? What kind of dumb stuff finna come out your mouth? Go ahead.
You know, Elder, even in his not acknowledging what was before him, he still had some wherewithal to present a gift. What you say, you never go before a great king with an empty hand.
Right. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto him, Peace be unto you, fear not, you shall not die. Then Gideon built an altar there unto Yah, and called it Yahweh Shalom. Unto this day it is yet in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. And it came to pass the same night, that Yahweh said unto him,
Now look at what he telling him. Now pay attention. Go ahead.
take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the grove that is by it.
So throw down the altar of Baal and cut down the grove. Now we just found out. Now those are connected. Now, so I don't know if you know what's happening. That's mother and son. All right. So that's Asherah and Baal. All right. Go ahead.
But you see who it belonged to, right?
Yeah, his father. His father. Go ahead.
And build an altar unto Yahweh your Elohim upon the top of this rock, in the ordered place. And take the second bullock and offer burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove, which you shall cut down.
Wait a minute. So I want you to take the wood of the mama and burn the son. So Yahweh really got an issue right here. He said, Yahweh going through some Michael Jackson stuff. He said, look, Billie Jean is not my lover. And that child is not mine. You understand? That child is not mine. So Yahweh gonna do the same thing we gonna do. Wait a minute. I'm telling you, I don't know this woman. Take the wood from that and burn it. Go ahead.
Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as Yahweh had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the men of the city, that he could not do it by day, that he did it by night.
All right, did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Asherah worship was deeply sensual, involving illicit sex and ritual prostitution. It was closely associated with the worship of Baal. As it is written, the Israelites did evil in Yahweh's sight. They forgot about Yahweh their Elohim and served the images of Baal and the Asherah poles. At times, to appease Baal and Asherah, human sacrifices were made. These sacrifices usually consisted of the firstborn child of the person making the sacrifice. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 23. But we're ready to take off because we done found some archaeological site. But we don't know what we're about to run into, though. Second Kings chapter 23. And start that at verse 1.
And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Yehuda and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahweh, and all the men of Yehuda and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant which was found in the house of Yah. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before Yahweh, to walk after Yahweh, and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priest of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of Yahweh all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the house of heaven, host of heaven, and he burnt them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Yehuda had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Yehuda, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burnt incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove from the house of Yahweh without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burnt it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of Yah.
Now, when we read this, a lot of times our head and our mind goes one place when we see sodomites. So I want to read the definition of sodomite. And it says, Kadesh, a quasi-sacred person that is technically a male devotee by prostitution and licentious idolatry. Now, I'm going to go back over here. It says Asherah was located or was associated with prostitution. So these were, as they call, temple prostitutes. So when Yahweh said set it on fire, he really meant what he said. I want you to take the wood of this one and burn that one. Go ahead.
Where the women wove hangings for the grove. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Yehuda, and defiled the high places wherein the priests had burnt incense, from Geba to Beersheba, and brake down the high places of the gates that were in the entering in of the gate of Yahshua, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of Yahweh in Jerusalem, but they did eat of the unleavened bread among their brethren. And he defiled Tophet, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech. And he took away the horses that the kings of Yehuda had given to the sun at the entering in of the house of Yahweh by the chamber of Nathan Melech, the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and burnt the chariots of the sun with fire. And the altars that were on the top of the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the kings of Yehuda had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of Yah, did the king beat down, and break them down from thence, and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were upon the right hand of the mount of corruption, which Shlomo the king of Israel had built for Ashtaroth, the abomination of the Zidonians, and for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images, and cut down the groves, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high places which Jeroboam the son of Nebat.
If you haven't figured it out, it's a lot of these. So when somebody tell us that they done found some archaeological site that we need to go set up and worship at, what all they been doing now? Go ahead.
Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high places which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high places he brake down, and burnt the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burnt the grove. And as Josiah turned himself, he spied the graves that were there in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the graves, and burnt them upon the altar, and polluted it, according to the word of Yahweh, which the man of Elohim proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, What title is that I see? And the men of the city told him, It is the grave of the man of Elohim, which came from Yehuda, and proclaimed these things that you have done against the altar of Bethel. And he said, Let him alone. Let no man move his bones. So they let his bones alone, with the bones of the prophet that came out of Samaria. And all the house also of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke Yahweh to anger, Josiah took away, and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burnt men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem.
So then when we run into paganism, Yahweh has said that it's some things that we have to accomplish, not sit there and take a hold of the paganism. But are we going to be wooed by people telling us how deep in African history these things are? But, we get a different side of that when we listen to the powers that be, who claim that black people had nothing to do with any of this. Now, if there were no black people in Israel, and Israel is not North Africa, but some other continent, as the story is told today, why do the Israelites constantly have a problem worshiping a Canaanite deity? Canaan, the one who was so-called cursed black, as the nations lie, but who is actually black, is the one Israel keeps falling with. Why are they not having problems with Gentile gods if the Jews are actually Gentiles or look like Gentiles? So let's read about Canaan. Let's go to Genesis chapter 9. I mean, if they really are like that, then why ain't they having a problem with Gentile gods? Why all the gods they have an issue with are African gods? if they're not around African people. But see, you don't know enough to ask that question if you stay in the New Testament and you're walking around praise dancing. See, you don't know that. You too busy pop locking it in for Jesus. But when you know enough to ask a question, now somebody just got to look at you because they can't answer that. Why they keep having problems with African gods? If they white, go pick some white gods. Why ain't Santa Claus up in here? Why ain't the Easter Bunny hopping around up in here? Why all the problems are with African gods if they not around African people? Right. And they're not going to ask that question. Right. And they're going to get mad at you when you do. Genesis chapter 9, let's read verses 20 through 26.
And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father.
Ham is the father of Canaan. Ham means burnt black. So Canaan is the son of burnt black. This is who Israel keep having a problem with, Canaan. Why? Why Israel having problems, with other people in Europe? Why ain't they worshiping a bunch of European gods? Because they ain't European. Go ahead.
And told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backwards, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
Cursed be Canaan, he shall be a servant of servants. He wasn't cursed black, he was cursed to be a servant of servants. Israel was made to be a servant. So then what does Yahweh do? When we don't do what we're supposed to do, he then let the servant of servants sell the servant. Man. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5. See, some of us still mad at the Africans for selling us. Yahweh had already put forth the end game before the game started. I'm going to take the land from the Canaanites, so-called Africans, and give it to you. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do, I'm going to let the same Africans who you pushed out sell you. Now you walking around looking at all the African gods. Go ahead, Bree.
There's twofold hatred there because you took their land, we took
Right.
their land, and then they were made servants unto you.
Right? And then here they come looking up, and here you come walking over the hill one day, and they like, ooh, come on down here. Come on down. Oh, yeah, the price is right. We've been waiting for this here. Oh, no, you didn't. So after all that, y'all didn't do right by Yahweh. Oh, come on down. Come on down. Come live with us. Yeah, we're going to punish you every time we get a chance. Every day, we're going to make sure you know that you're not us. And then everywhere we turn, they make sure that they let us know that they not us. They'll tell you in a minute, oh, we're not African American. Why are they so hell-bent on saying they're not African American? They say they don't want you taking a part of their stuff. Why are they doing that? No. There's twofold level animosity there. And then we run into their gods, thinking that we connecting with the mother Africa. You connecting with the same thing that got you a whooping before. And if you keep on, it's going to give you a whooping again. 1 Corinthians chapter 5, and let's read verses 7 and 8.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, as you are unleavened. For Yahshua, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
Now, these worship practices of Africa are definitely old leaven unto the children of Israel. Those practices caused us problems then, and they are still causing us problems unto this day. Let us purge out that old leaven, that we may become a new lump. That's all that we're going to do for today. I do want to remind people that we do have the Holy Day and yearly calendar available. Send us an email if you want to get one. We have it at cost. It costs us $25 to put it together. If you buy it here, it's $25 for a donation of $25. If we have to send it to you, it'll be $30. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.